Good morning. We are going to be finishing up talking about inferencing today, and we're going to move on to a different skill next week. So I want you to kind of focus your last day on inferencing while I'm reading, and then I will give you a question at the end, or maybe somewhere in the middle. Haven't quite decided yet, and that will be your Google Classroom response for today. And I'm going to try to get quite a bit of reading done today. So we are picking up with Anna. Yesterday we heard from Jeffrey, Luke, and Peter, and that's all part of the October section. And so right now they were kind of talking about their big science experiment that was happening with the plants. So if you remember what they said yesterday about Anna, she seemed to the other kids like she was very involved or attached to her plant, so hopefully we'll figure out more about that. So Anna says, I didn't want my plant to die. I didn't want to put it in the box. Everybody was staring at me. I started crying. Mr. Terupt took me into the hall. Anna, what's wrong? I don't want to kill my plant, I blurted out. My back slid down the wall and I put my head in my hands. We're not going to kill your plant, Mr. Terupt knelt down in front of me. Yes, you are, I said. If we put it in the box, it's going to kill it. We'll take it out before it dies, he promised. No, I don't want to hurt it. Tell you what, Anna, let's do the experiments that are lined up for your plant. We have to because Danielle is your partner and she needs to do the science too. Then, when we're all done, I'll let you take my plant, our control, the one we don't do anything to. I still didn't like the idea of hurting my plant, but I liked the idea of getting the control. I think he saw my hesitation. Plus, since you're working with Danielle, I have a feeling that your plant is actually going to be just fine. I don't know Danielle that well. She's never been in my class before. She seems nice. I like her. Sometimes she's friends with Alexia. I don't know why. I'm glad I'm partners with Danielle and not Alexia. I've never been in Alexia's class, but I can tell she's mean. All the girls listen to her, though. Katie, Emily, Heather, Natalie, all of them. Not me. I stay away from her. My mom has warned me not to get involved in that popularity stuff. She was ostracized once. That means nobody wanted to be friends with her. My mom told me it was like there was a big group of people holding hands in a circle, and she was never let in. She always had to stand outside the circle. Mom doesn't ever want that to happen to me. It was when she was 16 and pregnant with me. I can tell that she still hurts inside from all of it. Even her own parents shunned her. That's why she quit school shortly after I was born and moved out. She tried to move in with my dad. I've never met him. But that didn't work out. He left. Mom says we can talk about my dad and the whole situation when I'm older. All I know is that she says he's a nice man. My grandma and grandpa, I've never met them either, still don't want anything to do with us. They moved far away after my mom moved out. My mom might be young, but she's still a great mom. She's my best friend, and I love her. If you love someone, you don't quit on them just because they make a mistake. Mr. Terupt helped me stand up. Trust me on this one, he said. Be positive. We headed back into the classroom. My plant went into the box and came out a few days later. A little yellow and without a lot of new growth, but it was alive. Turning it on its side wasn't harmful, so I was okay with that test, and then it was our chance to feed it whatever we wanted. Mr. Terupt was right. Danielle knew what she was doing. Here's a list of things we could mix together, Danielle said. I read the list. I didn't know everything on it. How did she? My grandmother helped me with it, she said. She's always been good at growing things. She's the reason we have successful crops on the farm. Both of us brought in some of the ingredients. We mixed them together and fed our plant. Ours was the only one to survive. It turned really green and grew and grew and grew. I took the control home, but Danielle and I decided to leave our plant in school. We kept feeding it and everyone watched it grow. It grew almost to the ceiling, wrapping itself around the cord to the blinds, all the way up. Then one day it was knocked over. Somehow our super duper plant fell off the windowsill. Nobody knows how it happened. I have a pretty good idea, though. I bet Alexia did it, because it happened when she was being nasty to Danielle. I'm thankful that Mr. Terupt let me take the control home. I didn't want her to hurt that one, too. I liked being Danielle's partner. I wonder now if Mr. Terupt knew what he was starting between me and Danielle. I wonder. So if we make an inference at the end of this section, what do you think was the reason that Anna was feeling so attached to the plant, or why did she want to take a plant home and keep it and take care of it? So what can you infer about maybe how she feels? And she gave us a little bit of background about her relationship with her family members. The author said that it's just Anna and her mom, and gave us kind of some insight about what their relationship is like and about what Anna's mom has gone through too. So use all of that the author told us, and then maybe your background knowledge about people that you've known who've been in similar situations as Anna's mom, or as Anna, where someone, maybe someone you know has a really close relationship with their mom, and their dad isn't around, their grandparents aren't around, or maybe you've experienced that, and so use that background knowledge to make connections about why might Anna really feel attached to that plant and really want to take it home and take care of it. So see if you can figure that out. All right, Jessica. Act 2, Scene 1. My daily routine included lunch with Alexia and the girls, minus Danielle and Anna, they sat alone, and then recess. Alexia found it funny to see how upset Danielle would get. Right about the same time, I was finishing the book Belle Teal. I loved Belle. I wanted her to be my friend. She was honest and courageous. What would Belle do in my shoes? That was easy. She would do the right thing. And doing the right thing meant giving someone a chance. Danielle didn't seem anything like Alexia made her out to be. I decided it was time to talk to Danielle and find out for myself. Act 2, Scene 2. I set out to find Danielle the next day at recess. I spotted her from a distance. She was drawing in the dirt with a stick. Hi, Danielle, I said as I approached, clutching my latest book, Where the Red Fern Grows, close to me. What do you want? She shot back, jabbing her stick too hard into the ground, causing it to snap in half. She turned away. It sounded like she was crying. Are you okay? I walked closer. No, Lexi's being really mean to me, and it's all your fault. She threw her sticks onto the ground. My fault? She blamed me? Why didn't I see it coming? It made perfect sense. I was the new girl, and my arrival pushed her out of the group. I'm sorry, I said. I stood there. I wanted to be back in California anyway. I missed my dad. Danielle began scratching pictures in the dirt with her finger. I'm sorry I said that. It's not your fault. I sat down. It's just that Lexi's ignoring me, talking about me, saying mean stuff. Danielle went on. She doesn't sit with me at lunch. She's not playing with me. And now all the other girls are doing the same thing. They always do what Alexia says. Anna's the only one who's still nice, and I'm not supposed to be friends with her. Why not? I asked. My family, especially my grandma, thinks she's a bad influence. I don't get it. My mom and dad used to be friends with her grandparents and... You mean her parents? I interrupted. No, her grandparents. Danielle stopped moving the dirt and sat up to explain. My mom and dad are 47. They had my older brother Charlie when they were 20, the same time Anna's grandparents had Anna's mother. They were all friends at church. That's how they knew each other. Charlie is 27, so Anna's mom must be 27 too. And Anna's 11, I said, quickly putting all the pieces together. So that means her mom was 16 when Anna was born. That's right, Danielle said. And that's why your family, especially your grandmother, thinks Anna will be a bad influence? I asked. Yes, Danielle said. I think they figure Anna will be like her mother, and that's not the type of people churchgoers should associate with. I didn't like what I was hearing. None of it seemed fair to Anna, but I wanted to learn more about her mother's story. What happened after Anna was born? I'm not sure, Danielle said. I just know that it's only Anna and her mother now. None of that's her fault, I said, matter-of-factly. Danielle nodded. She bent forward and started drawing in the dirt again. I decided not to push it anymore. She seemed upset by it, too. I'll play with you, I said. You will? The hint of a smile spread its way across Danielle's dirt-streaked, teary face. Sure, and I won't listen to Alexia. I slid where the red fern grows off to the side and dug into the earth with my finger. I know that book. My grandma read it to me. It's very good, I said. Everybody always likes a character with a dog. That's something my dad told me. It's a sad story, Danielle said, but I won't tell you what happens. Please don't. We can talk about it when I get done, though. Sure, she said, shrugging her shoulders. We sat next to each other, scratching pictures in the dirt until the whistle sounded. Recess was over. We stood and brushed ourselves off. That was when I saw Danielle's dirt sketch of 2 dogs. That's a great picture, Danielle. Thanks, she said. I liked Danielle. There were a lot of interesting things to learn about her, I could tell. I grabbed my book and we headed toward the building. Then I saw Anna wandering over by herself. I wondered if she wanted to be a loner, or did she want friends? Why did she try so hard to be invisible? Was she embarrassed by her family situation? And how many people actually knew all that stuff about her mother? There's more. Act 2, Scene 3. I was walking with Danielle when all of a sudden she rushed ahead and hurried inside. Looking up, I found out why. Alexia got right in my face. Like, what are you doing? I thought I told you not to be friends with her. Alexia's head jerked from side to side as she talked. It reminded me of a bobblehead. She blocked my way, her hands on her cheetah-patterned hips. There's nothing wrong with Danielle. Besides, I can play with whomever I want, I said. Fine. Then, you're not my friend anymore, Alexia said. She knocked where the red fern grows out of my hands. Then she whipped around and stomped inside. I wasn't upset, but I'm not stupid either. I knew Alexia was going to make my life miserable. That was her game, and she was good at it, too. Still, I had no clue how bad things would really get. So, what was I going to say about that part before I read about Alexia? Oh, maybe you can infer some things about Jessica, and then also, remember Jessica's the new girl. Also, maybe infer some details about the setting. What kind of place are these kids living in? Because I feel like I'm getting a lot of clues about where they live based on what the characters are saying about both what they think and what their families think. And families have a lot of impact on what the kids think because that's where they learned and that's where they grew up. So I'm interested to see what you can infer about the setting and where these kids live. All right, the next section is Alexia. I saw Jessica talking to Danielle. I saw them playing. That double-crossing, no good, Miss Perfect from California. She was gonna get it. I went right up to her after recess and smacked her stupid book out of her hands. Who did she think she was, messing things up? I couldn't let her stand up to me and get away with it. Then somebody else might think they could do that too. I wasn't about to let that happen. Nobody messes with Alexia. And then I had to deal with Danielle. I caught up to her inside and followed her into the bathroom. I was like, "What are you doing?" She backed up to the stall. "Nothing. What's wrong?" I was like, "You're crazy to be friends with the new girl." "I told you she's been saying nasty stuff about you, how you smell like the farm, and just now she said, 'Who's bigger, Danielle or the cows?'" Now Danielle was crying. Score. I hugged her. I was like, "We've been friends a long time, Danielle, since 2nd grade. We don't need her." She was still crying. I hugged her again. I was thinking, this will teach you to mess with me, Miss Perfect. I let go of Danielle and walked over and stood in front of the mirror. I fixed the scrunchie in my hair and readjusted my scarf. I reapplied some Princess Pink lip gloss. I was like, "Don't you worry, Danielle. We'll get her." All right, so the next section is Danielle. I'm going to let you kind of make your own inferences about Jessica, or not Jessica, about Alexia. And I'm just going to keep reading, but I'm hoping that you are thinking a lot about what kind of character she is. Danielle, I ended up talking and playing with Jessica at recess. My troubles with Lexi weren't her fault. I told Jessica about Anna. Jessica thought Anna seemed nice, which was true. Anna was my science partner for the plant unit, and I liked working with her. You stay away from that girl, you hear me? Grandma said when I first mentioned Anna at home. Your grandmother's right, Danielle. That girl comes from a bad family, Mom said. She'll be a bad influence. I wanted to know why. So Grandma filled me in on Anna's family story. I just listened, but I couldn't help thinking about the Anna I knew. She didn't seem bad at all. In fact, I already liked her. I wanted her to be my friend. I figured that as long as I wasn't going over to her house, I could be friends with Anna in school. Before long, it was time to head inside. I walked alongside Jessica until I saw Lexi marching toward us. She had a mean scowl on her face. She looked mad, real mad, like a mama cow determined to keep you away from her new calf. I rushed ahead. I didn't want to fight. I felt bad for leaving Jessica behind, but I wanted to avoid Lexi. I hurried inside and hid in the bathroom, but Lexi found me. The bathroom door flew open and she got right in my face. She told me all the mean things Jessica was saying about me. Like, you can even ask Katie or Emily. They'll tell you. Little Miss California's a two-face. Nice to your face and mean behind it. You need to stay away from her. I started crying. Why would Jessica say those mean things? Lexi hugged me for a second, but it didn't make me feel any better. Then she walked towards the sinks. She stood in front of the mirror fixing herself. I sat in one of the stalls wiping my tears. Like, you know what else? Lexi said. Jessica's the one who killed your plant. Like she knocked it over on purpose. She told me. I've known Lexi since second grade, when she was all nice. She even came over to my house once that spring, but her feather boas weren't a good match for my farm, so she hasn't ever been back. And then in third grade, she started with her mean games, so I've never been to her house. We're friends in school when Lexi says so, and that's it. Grandma says something's going on with Lexi that we don't know about, and that it's best not to worry about being her friend. But I did worry. What was the truth? Was there anyone I could be friends with? Dear God, it's Danielle. I'm going to need your help sorting all this girl stuff out. I hope you don't mind. I'd rather not get Grandma involved. She doesn't always understand. Thanks. Amen. All right, so that wraps up October for us. So we will be starting November on Monday. So in your reading response today, I will be asking you, actually, I asked you some questions already, but the one thing I want you to focus on, is maybe, this is what I want you to do. I want you to make define each character. So if that makes sense. So I want to start focusing on setting up our characters and our setting for plot. And then I also want to get our characters kind of set from the beginning of the book, so in September and October, so that we can kind of see how our character grows or builds as the story goes on. So I want you to think about each student. So that means that we have Peter, Jessica, Luke, Alexia, Jeffrey, Danielle, and Anna. So you should have 7 different characters. If you need to go back and reread, as in listen to the characters again, go back and do that on the different days that we've done the read aloud. And I want you to really think about who these kids are. And then to wrap up inferring, I want you to make some inferences about why they might be the way they are. So I really want you to dig in today and use examples from the text to make connections to your inferences. So what in the text makes you think that? And then give me some of your background knowledge too. What do you know about what you've seen before. So Alexia in our story is this mean girl. I am sure that you have come across somebody in your life that has not treated other people necessarily very nice. Now, did you dig further into knowing that person? Because you might have some insight then about why Lexi is acting this way or why she is treating people this way. It's not normally the case that people are just in general mean. Generally, they have something going on, like Danielle's grandma suggested, and that is causing them to react that way. Is that an okay reaction? No, not really. But we need to start to be understanding of what's going on with the character. So I want you to try to figure out what's going on with Lexi, and I feel like you can make a strong inference to a connection you have and what the author told us. And I want you to tell me a little bit about each character as a person so we can kind of watch them grow as the book goes on. All right? Don't be afraid to rewatch. Like and subscribe at my channel. Okay? I'll see you guys Monday. Let me know if you have any questions, okay?